Welcome back to my channel, Endless Roads. Cup of Hot Joe here. Today's topic, I've been thinking about it a lot lately. So many of my friends keep on saying to me, "Hey John, are you going to come back?" My sister said to me, uh, "Why are you going there? What's so special about there?" And a few of my friends says, a couple of them here says, "Why did you leave America?" Well, that is something I'm going to get into today. Why I left. Will I ever come back, and what does the future hold for me? And so let's get into it. Now, I've been planning on leaving America since I was a kid. I always wanted to travel, watch movies like Tarzan, The Ape Man, and Casablanca. You see all these stories about the tropics and the deserts. I was always interested in that. So the reason I've always wanted to travel is just to travel, not permanently live somewhere. That all changed about in the 90s when everything starts going chaos. You know, I became a single father in 1993, and not by my choice. I wanted to be a husband with a wife and three kids, but my wife decided to take on the new ideology of the times. Um, be a free woman, enjoy stuff. She still wanted to be married to me, but she wanted an open relationship. So I would find out that she's going out with people and stuff like that. But I came home one day, and my children are in the living room playing. Walk into the bedroom, and there's my wife with a 14-year-old boy. And she was into the drugs, the alcohol, all this stuff. And I was the first man in my state pretty much to get full legal and judicial custody of the kids. I tried to give her the kids. It didn't work. Uh, I got the kids back. So it got very expensive for me to try to be a father and raise the kids. I went to for help, WIC, right? Wives and infants and children. They said you're a man. You're entitled to that. I said I'm a man without a wife who have children. Don't matter. So I applied for child support. They said women only get child support. So I'm stuck raising four kids, two of mine, two of hers from a previous marriage, because they did not know who the father was. It fell on my responsibility to raise them. So I go from that, and I meet another lady, and we'll call her a ladder climber. I met her. We dated for 3 years. We ended up having two kids, and we tried to get married. I purchased a house before we got married, about a month. 3 weeks into my marriage, she filed for a divorce, asking for the house and alimony, child support, the car, the boat, all this stuff. There's a reason why I'm giving you this story. It's going to come out in the end there. And I give her the kids, and I agreed to pay child support. But since she wasn't married to me for 6 months, she wasn't entitled to anything I had. So within a few 4 months, she abandoned the children in a trailer while she went off to Las Vegas to have fun. I ended up with kids. Now I have 6 kids, single father. And I applied for child support on her, and she said she's never going to work, so she ain't going to pay me nothing. And the state that I was living in said that it was not right to put a woman in jail for not paying child support, although it was all right for a man. So now I have 6 kids, right? And now a few years go by. My one son, he gets he gets, they move back, but my son and my daughter moves back in with their mom because at 16 they can choose where they want to. Mom says you come back and live with me. There's no rules, she's on the far left side of the spectrum there. She says boyfriend, drugs, drinking, all that's fine, and they choose to move in there. And the two older ones, well, her kids, they were already at 18, so they moved out. So now I have two boys living with me, with my two youngest ones from my other wife, who has never paid me child support. And the first one never paid me child support. So now I'm struggling, and everything, all the bills are going up. Rules are passing that get harder and harder for a male person in America to make it. So I decided that I started looking on the internet and I'm going to find somebody I want to date, right? But lo and behold, somebody from overseas that happens to move across the street from me. And next thing you know, she's following me around everywhere I'm going. I'm like, get up in the morning, I go out in my backyard because I have a little barbecue grill out there. I make breakfast. I sit out there and have breakfast, and every morning she's sitting out there in my backyard, in my chair. I'm like, what are you doing here? She don't speak no English. Her kids speak English. They're over there. They're like, oh, she come over to visit you. She thinks you're a great person because my mom thinks you're a great person. So we start dating, end up a relationship. I'm like, I don't have to go overseas, find somebody. They're here. You know, uh, I teach her English, get ready to help her become American citizen. She said, well, I also need to build up my credit. I was like, wait, okay, what do you want to do? So let's start a business of buying houses, leasing them out. I buy a house, she moves in it, and just before we supposed to get married, I thought we were supposed to get married, she kept putting it off, one reason or the other. Lo and behold, she has a husband shows up. I threatened to walk out of all the deals. I said, I don't care if it destroys my credit score or nothing. She's got a husband. Well, she promptly divorced her husband. She said that she was afraid to tell me. So we get, you know, on with it for about 10 years. She was actually about 8 years older than me. And make a long story short, she became an American citizen. Once she got American citizen and we got to our second house buying, because I know that I have cancer, she packs her bags and leaves. And says, well, I don't have to deal with that. You might not live. Well, as you can see, I still live. After about 3 months, she finds out I live. She comes back and says, oh, I need you in my life, blah, blah, blah. And she's got the houses in her name. She asked me to come over, help her fix us up, and that we're going to be all together. I put another 20,000 into the next house, plus actually 15,000 in the last house to make it really nice, right? And I leased that house out to the handicap corporation there in town, and we were making pretty good money off that. Got the next house, right? And as soon as I finished, I said, "No, well, everything's finished." She hands back my engagement ring. I'm like, "What's this?" She goes, "Oh, I have somebody else." I said, "What did I do wrong?" She said, "Oh, you did nothing wrong." And I said, "Then why are you leaving me?" She goes, "I got all I can from you. You're like down here on the ladder. I got to find somebody more." And through the years, I found out she had like 3 or 4 more guys. She actually got 2 more houses from people. She's very well off now. So I'm like, this is it. I gave up on dating for a while. Then I'm a chef. I don't know if I mentioned that. I'm a chef, and I worked in some of the top restaurants, and I worked in Hyatt Hotel. They got hired me as a trainer for their international students, and the ones that turn out the best, they offer them positions in different spots of the world. Okay, I'm working at Hyatt Grand Hotel, and next thing you know, I meet people from uh, China, Japan, Korea, Philippines, Taiwan, and then in Europe they're getting people from, uh, say, Romania, Uzbekistan. I had Pakistan. I had just going on and on different countries. You know, some from Africa, some from South America. But the Philippines always seems to stick out the most. And then I took a little bit more interest than just training them. You know, on the weekends I would take them out for dinner and explain what they need to do and how they need to be more thing. And they start telling me, "Well, what's your plans, John?" And I'm like, "I'm planning on retiring and moving to Mexico." They said you should try the Philippines. Some of them said Korea, but they said you definitely have to learn Korea. And then the Filipinos said, well, you know, you're in Mexico, you got to speak Spanish. Come to the Philippines. So I went there in 2017, and I liked it. Then I came back, and when it came back, it's when it really hit me. You know, I'll give you a good example. I was sitting in McDonald's in the Philippines, and the next thing I know, the server come up. She's dressed up like an airplane stewardess. She's like, "Hello, sir. How can I help you?" And I told her my order. She says, "Well, Paul, sit down." I said, "What did you call me?" And then I found out later that meant like Mister or Sir. And she goes, "Paul, sit down. I'll bring it to you." And she brought it to me. A smile on her face. Come in the next day, ordered the same thing. Third day, she told me, "Paul, sit down." She brought it to me. Uh, Fourth day, I come in. I didn't have to buy anything. They gave it to me for free because of my age, respect. Now, I go in a nice hotel. I'm spending $20 for that hotel at the night. I got the internet and Wi-Fi. I went to the market with some of my friends. I'm buying stuff what I would think was impossible for the price. I come back to America. I get off the airplane. I'm waiting for my ride. I go to McDonald's. First thing I tell her is, "What the hell you want?" I'm like, "Make an order," you know. And they're like, I mean, it just got me rude. And don't you give me any lip and all this stuff. And I'm like, "I'm not, sir," you know. And it was this totally contrast. Okay, I come back and I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, my God, these people here are so rude. And I was treated like the grandfather of everybody at the other place. So I decided then that I was going to go there. Now, my youngest kids in 2017 are 19 and 17. So they're pretty much grown. So I called my boys together and I said, hey, I want to go to the Philippines to live. And my oldest boy said, "Well, whatever you want, Dad." And that's a good point, you know. My youngest son's a little bit nervous about it, but he was okay with it. He was still in school. He was about 11th grade. And he got to go, he asked if he could go live with the sister. And when I told you I went back, which I wasn't too sure about because of their woke ideology that started already, you know. And he went on down there. And my other son, he decided to come with me. I sold everything I had. I had nothing left but the vehicle and one suitcase of clothes. I sold everything. And I found this job, and to be honestly, it wasn't a glorious job. It's one of those, and you probably never heard of it before unless you're my age, a phone book. You put it on the front door of somebody, you get a door, and you get 30 cents. Now, you don't sound like much, right? But you got to realize I was working as a top chef in a place that I was probably making clear $120 a day. I actually learned this job before I left because I was looking for part-time jobs, and I made $120 on the side one day doing that while I worked the other job. I'm like, I wonder what I could do if I work the whole time. Well, I started learning. It took me too long to figure out that the closer the houses are, the more money you can make. And then when I started making $300-400 a day, and I'm staying in nice hotels, you know, It didn't take me long to realize what I'm going to do. So I told my son, I said, let's work our butts off, and you can come with me and see what it's like in the Philippines. And I'm going to work in America doing this job every 3 months, and then go back and live in the Philippines for 9 months until I reach 62, and I'm going to take my retirement. I'm going to stay there. Well, I did that. And I got to the Philippines in 2019. I met the girl online in 2018, which happens to be my wife, who's recording this right now. Anyway, I get married, and I owed some taxes on my phone book job that I did, right? So I was supposed to go back, and I was supposed to go back in June. I get a message saying that if I don't go back now, I will have to wait until the airports are not locked down. I need to leave now, so in March I leave, right? I go back to America, me and my son together. And the job I had before was gone, but everything's locked down. No work anywhere except for like Walmart. So I kept my van. That's a good thing I did. So I had a place to stay. I stayed a week in Walmart, and then I applied for the job. I got the job 4 days later, and I started working there. I get this long list of stuff that I must do. You know, stuff like you need to tell your associate, not tell, you need to talk to your associate by their proper pronoun. I didn't even know, no clue what a pronoun was. I know what a pronoun was, but I didn't know what they meant by it. And then they told me, well, if this person says, if this person is born a girl but says it's a boy, you must say it's a boy. If the person is a boy born a girl, you must say it's a girl. You know, or if they say they're black but they're actually white, you still say they're black. Or they're Mexican but they're actually Taiwan, you say they're Taiwanese. You know, it was very confusing. And then we got to the sexual harassment things. I didn't know that if you look in somebody's direction for over 8 seconds, it's considered sexual harassment. I was informed of that. There was lots of stuff in there. You could not initiate any type of conversation or anything that would consider harmful to somebody else. That's a trigger warning. I didn't know what the word trigger warning means, I, you know, but I found out really quick. Within a week there, I'm sitting at the table and made some friends, and they're talking politics, right? You know, and I end up mentioning that, I kind of like Trump, what he's doing with the low cost of living, and I think he'll be good for another 4 years. Now it's just me and three people sitting there. Across the lunchroom, which is a good 20 yards away, are two people sitting there talking. I say, I go back to the office. I come back, and I'm told that I'm being written up for cause and trigger warning for somebody that was emotionally upset. I said, well, what the heck did I say? He said, you like Trump. That was it. That was it. Okay. So what happens? My hours go from 45 a week to 20. Now, this is like 8 months into me working there. Now, a few of these restaurants are starting to open up again. I'm in Missouri. I'm going to go ahead and say that. I'm in Missouri. And the first restaurant opens up is Waffle House. So I applied for a job. I've got a chef degree. I should be easily do Waffle House, right? I walk in there. I'm old school, You're taught to say Mr. and Ma'am. So I get a job, and first day I work, there's my coworker, but with their back to me. I'm saying back because I got to say they, because if I say one way or the other, I'm not in trouble. Well, I'm making trouble anyway. I walk up and I can tell that it looks like a female. So I say, hello, miss. My name is so-and-so. How are you doing? Turn around. screamed in my face, "My name is Champ. I am not a Miss. I'm a Mister, and you are called me by my proper pronoun. I'm sorry. I'm sorry," I said. "I didn't know you were gay." And boom, I'm not gay. I was born in the wrong body. I am a man who likes women, just trapped in a woman's body. And I tried to wrap my head around that. I'm like, okay, fine, And from there on and on and on. And then let's say the drug use in there. Every time I went into Walmart, needles, needles in the arm. I mean, needles on the ground. What I mean by needles in the arm, literally somebody sitting with "I need help" sign and shooting up a needle in their arm. The sliding doors of Walmart opens. Nobody says anything. I pull up my car. I don't criticize somebody being homeless. Or if they choose to be that way, that's fine. But when you choose that way, and yet you ask somebody for help instead of helping yourself, there's tents all out in the woods. When I'm at the end of the parking lot, there's probably 10 yards of, I'd say less than that, 5 yards, and then there's the woods. Nothing but tents all through the fence, the woods. You can see them there, people living in there, and they come out with a sign. Now, inside Walmart, we need 60 people. Well, I tell everybody, I say, "You need a job? Come on inside. We'll hire you. We need help bad." They said no, they don't want it. But they would come in and they'd steal the food, steal the beer. Now, I got a job at the Walmart running the front deli, right? So I got a view of everybody. I'm watching these drug addict people coming in. Like there's this woman who lift up her. She go into the clothes area and act like she's trying something on. She don't go into the thing. What she's doing is flipping one of those 18-inch sandwiches up under her breast. I call the management, says what's going on. They go, okay. They don't do nothing about it. Now I watch this guy gather up about $125 worth of items, clothes, electronics and stuff. They're walking out the door. I follow them. As soon as they go out the door, I say, "Hey, sir, you need to pay for that." And he said, "No, I don't." And he walked away. Management calls me in the office to get another ride up confronting the customer who was stealing. Imagine that. So, get back to Waffle House now. This is to give you an idea of what puts me in the mindset of where I was at. Okay, now I'm working. Now we hired this guy. He's got dreadlocks down to his butt. That's no big deal, but and you probably think I'm talking about a black guy. No, I'm talking about a white guy. He's on every type of drug you can imagine. He can't work. He has panic attacks. It's me and him. Customer comes in, he runs in and locks the toilet. Yeah, locks the CR and just sits in there. And I'm waiting. I'm like, he's in there. So I end up take customer stuff, and that guy comes out, takes the money, goes back in the bathroom, shuts the door. Next customer comes in, I'm banging on the door, he don't come out. Take the customer's order, cook the food, give it to them. They eat it, they leave. He runs out of the bathroom, grabs some money, and runs back in. Tell the management about it. They said you have to be more compassionate for those who are less fortunate. I'm like, less fortunate? I'm living in a van, working 2 jobs, and this guy here is sitting in the toilet doing drugs. And I'm doing his job, my job, and he's keeping the tips. I got dismissed for complaining. So now it's starting to open up a little bit more, right? I still can't go into Philippines. I done brought a couple of tickets. I said it's going to open, then it don't open, then it's open for just people married to Filipinos, and then I buy a ticket and I have to cancel the tickets not. So I'm stressing out, right? And it's already in the second winter now. And my van was only a $501 one I bought 3 years ago. So now it has no heat, can't hardly move. I'm driving it back and forth, and then I get this job. It's a little ways out of town, and I'm trying to make the van last. I get this job. It's a private resort. I mean, this is where like the CEO of Boeing goes to, the CEO of Ford, Chrysler. They all have homes out there, and I get the job as junior chef and the lodge. That's where everybody hangs out, all the rich people. I get a job and walk in there to meet the head chef. Head chef's 22 years old, never worked in a restaurant in his life. Don't know how he got that job, but he got the job. I meet the GM. The GM happens to be his girlfriend's mother. His girlfriend's mother. So gives you an idea there. And she, how should I say this? I'm not going to go right there right now. Anyway, she says, "I'm glad to see that you're hired here, and your experience is definitely needed." Well, that's great. So I come in, I learn the menu, I find out where everything is, and then I ask the guy how he wants me to run the place. He goes, "How the hell do I know? You do it, you stupid white man." I'm like, "Excuse me?" So, I go in there and I figure it out. I start running a restaurant. I'm doing his chef's job as a junior chef. And he's supposed to be there before I am. He don't show up until noontime. The restaurant's open at 6. He has to get on the line and help us, right? Now, he never worked in a restaurant in his life, so he panics. And he's calling these racist slurs. He's calling the waitresses racist slurs and just being really rude and stuff like that. And I had it one day. I come in there, and he called me a stupid old white man again, and I could not say on here what he called the waitresses. And he could made very rude remarks about their body parts and stuff like that, like "get your blank out of here, take your blank white blank out of here," and he panicked and he ran off the line. Now there's 100 and some odd tickets hanging up there. I come in, I wipe out the tickets. I'm a trainer. I get the people going. I'm expediting everything. I get it done. He comes in there and he goes, "I'm sorry what I said." I said, "Sorry, don't get it done." And he says, "Okay, well, old white man, he'll come in tomorrow." I'm done for it. He gives me a call back. "Oh my God, we're panicked. We're slammed here. You need to get in here now. Get your white blank in here." I'm like, "No. You have a good day." Besides, we had a new manager come in. The new manager said, "I don't know what the last manager said to you at Walmart, but we'll give you 40 plus hours." All right. So I took it. It ended up being like 60 because now everybody's coming down. Now that COVID's supposed to be over, everybody's coming down with COVID. And I'm working some days, one only person there, and there's supposed to be 4 or 5. And I'm going in at 10 o'clock in the morning, getting off at 11 o'clock at night. And I decided that as soon as that thing opens up, I will give them my 2-week notice, but I'm gone within 2 weeks at that time. And then I got notice that February 11th, 2022, Philippines is open. I bought my ticket and I told them. They weren't very happy about it because they still weren't having enough people in there. Now, I told you like two years before, they needed 67 people. They still needed about 60, 70 people because nobody wants to work. So that was the reason. Mostly, it's also finances, When I started working at Waffle House, to give you an example, a bucket of chicken wings, a 5-pound bucket, would cost you about $7. When I left, there was 52. That's how high it raised. We had 100 pieces of chicken. Cost you $100 now, $1 a piece. box. The same box when I got there was $35. So it's impossible to eat. At the end there, I was buying one of those Walmart sandwiches I said, about 18 inches long. I would cut it up in threes, 6 inches each. That would be my 3 days meal, just to get by. I was able to save up maybe 6,000-7,000 U.S. dollars. So you can tell I'm still used to pesos, but once they pesos, 6,000-7,000 U.S. dollars to bring back here. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be 62 in October. This is February. I can make it. And that was one of my big mistakes right there. I talked about that. Another thing, don't ever believe that everything's going to fall perfectly. And if you can do anything in America before you go to another country, do it. But anyway, I came here, and it's basically everything. It's the woke mentality there, the culture. I would say mostly it's the culture. What I have noticed about what's the biggest problem with America is the culture and the tribalism. Everybody's got their group. Everybody's got somebody they're battling against, you know. And it's the straights against the gays against transgender, the transgenders against, you know, whoever. You got the whites fighting the blacks against the Mexicans, Asians against the blacks don't like the Asians. And it's just on and on and on. You know, you got politics, cost of living, like I said before, the cost of medical care. I'll give you another example. This is what really hurt me the most. I didn't bring this up. Like I said, I had cancer. I had to deal with it. When I found out I had cancer, I had good insurance. This is before Affordable Care Act, or some people call it Obamacare. I was paying $161 a month for me and my two boys. Okay, this is when I got my cancer cut out. After I got it cut out, I had to take the Affordable Care Act. Now, instead of having 10% on me and 90% paid by the insurance company, I had to pay 60%, and the insurance company paid 40%. My insurance went to $520 a month. Now, they said it wasn't because I had cancer, because they marked in here if you have a precondition, it wouldn't raise. It was because my kids were healthy. Wrap your head around that. Before, logic would say if somebody's healthy, you charge them less because the chances that they're getting sick are going to be a lot less. But that was the opposite. They were throwing it on the kids. They're saying, okay, now that you have two boys, we're going to charge you double on each of those kids, maybe triple, somewhere in between there. I didn't do the math yet, because they're healthy. But you're going to stay the same. I couldn't afford it. So what did I have to do? I had to make a choice. So I just gave up treatment. No chemo, no radiation treatment. Just look up to the good Lord above and say, God, it's in your hands, you know. You think I need to have cancer? I guess I'll have cancer if I don't, because there's no way in the world that my government is going to make sure that I'm covered while putting me in the poorhouse. You know, rent right now in America is around $1,200 to $1,500, and that's in a poor state, not poor state, but a very cheap state. $1,500. $1,500 here would cover me for 4 months. I don't see no reason to go back, you know, until, you know, things change. When people start looking at each other as, hey, you're my brother, you're my neighbor, you know, instead of, oh, you're the opposite of me, or you're not like me, so I don't like you, you know. You know, when tradition starts coming back. You know, we had a thing in America called the Blue Laws. Yeah, I don't know if any of you know that. Blue laws were simple morality, laws. It wasn't just for religious people, but secular people too. We have a law that said that you couldn't sell liquor on Sunday. Shops could not open up until after noon on Sunday. Uh, Car dealerships and anybody that worked in anything sales had to be off in those days to give them a break, to give you a chance to be with your family. You know, this common decency and common sense has totally left there. I grew up in a land where I could go outside at night and never worry about somebody harming me. I could go to school with the rest of my friends, and after we go hunting in the morning for rabbits or dove hunting, we'd leave a shotgun hanging in the back window of our truck. No, I wasn't the only one there. It was like half the school, all the boys. Everybody who had a vehicle had their gun in the car. We brought it in the wood shop. We brought it into the school to make better stocks for it and the pump for it. You had a shotgun, wood. That's what you did. We didn't need therapy every time. We played on the playground. We didn't need to be told, I'm a boy, you're a girl. We knew this. You know, we didn't need to be told that this is bad or that is bad. Heck, the only time we got in a fight in school was when somebody had to play the bad guy. Now everybody wants to be the bad guy. You play in soldiers and hey, we're all Americans and that person's the Nazi. Oh no, I don't want to be a Nazi. Then you'd be fighting. Now everybody wants to be one. Until things get a little bit better. I'm just stay right here. Or I'm going to go somewhere else. Now, the question about will I ever come back? Sure. If things improve there, or maybe I'll go somewhere else. What would make me leave the Philippines is if maybe something happens here and that culture comes here. If the price of stuff skyrockets where it's like in America, then I'll go find somewhere else that's cheaper. But I don't see many going back permanently to America. I might go back to see my kids, or if there's an emergency, like if one of my children gets really injured bad and they need my help, I might go back for a while, or I might bring them here. Well, that's it for me. This week I'm going to try to interview two ladies here. I'm going to give their outlook on life and what it's like here. And I thought maybe doing interviews might be a little good.